Warfare was a common and important feature of the medieval period, as it shaped the political, social, economic, and religious landscape of Europe and beyond. Borders could change drastically as empires were formed and collapsed. Medieval wars and battles were fought for various reasons, such as conquest, defense, revenge, honor, glory, or religion. In this video, we will take a look at the Battle of Hastings, which took place on October 14, 1066. This is a battle that forever changed England. It was also the last time England was successfully conquered. Studying medieval warfare is not easy, as the sources of information are often scarce, biased, or contradictory. The main sources of information for medieval warfare are chronicles, military treatises, and archaeological evidence. Most historical accounts were written by contemporary or near-contemporary authors, who often had a political or religious agenda or perspective. Battle, England. Here lies the ruins of Battle Abbey, the spot where the most famous battle in England took place almost 1,000 years ago. The abbey itself was built by William the Conqueror, the victor of the great battle, to atone for the bloodshed of his conquest. A marker, which is believed to be the spot where the high altar of the abbey once stood, marks the spot where King Harold, the King of England, was killed. There are many factors which led to this great battle. On January 5, 1066, King Edward of England died. Having no children, and therefore no clear heir to the throne, his brother-in-law Harold Godwinson was chosen and crowned King of England the day after, on January 6. However, there were others who believed that they had legitimate claim to the English throne. King Hardrada of Norway, and William, Duke of Normandy, both believed that they should have been crowned as King of England. Harold had anticipated an attack by William and so deployed troops and ships along the English Channel at the Isle of Wight. It took some time for William to form an army and build a fleet of ships to transport his soldiers to England. His troops included men from his own territories of Normandy, as well as a large number of mercenaries and volunteers from Brittany, northeastern France and Flanders. In early August, William's army and fleet were ready. However, they were held up in Dives Estuary in Normandy until September 12 due to poor weather conditions. They set out by boat, but were held up again, this time at St. Valery-sur-Somme, due to unfavorable weather. Meanwhile, the troops that Harold had sent to challenge an attack by William were dismissed on September 8 due to lack of supplies and the fact that most had to return to their families and help harvest crops. On the same day, King Hardrada of Norway, along with King Harold's brother Tostig, landed an army in Northumbria. After having received word of the invasion, King Harold gathered an army and marched north, defeating the invaders and killing both Tostig and Hardrada at the Battle of Stamford Bridge on September 25. The Norman army set sail 2 days later and landed at Pevensey Bay on September 28. They then moved up the English coast to Hastings and quickly built a fort. After King Harold's victory in Northumbria, he marched his troops back south to London, where he stayed for about a week until marching his army further south to meet William. By October 13, Harold's army was approaching Hastings. William marched his troops north to meet Harold's army on October 14 in an area that is now known as Battle, East Sussex. Harold's forces were in formation at the top of a hill and formed a shield wall to provide protection from attack. William's forces were arranged in 3 groups. The left group was the Bretons, centre was the Normans, French and Flemish were on the right. William attacked first with archers, but because they were shooting uphill at the English shield wall, they had little effect. He then sent his spearmen forward to attack and then his cavalry. All of William's repeated attacks failed to break the shield wall and his troops began to retreat. Some of William's men believed that he had been killed, which also added confusion to the battlefield. The English, believing they had won, broke formation and began to pursue the retreating army. William, who was still alive, rode through his forces while showing his face and yelling that he was still alive. He then led a counter-attack against the English and quickly overwhelmed the pursuing forces. William used his archers along with cavalry charges throughout the day. He also used the same tactic of attack and retreat to draw the English from their formations. The repeated attacks and volleys of arrows eventually depleted the English army. Finally, in late afternoon, after both of Harold's brothers had been killed, the king himself fell. There are differing stories of how the king was killed, but one account widely held is that he died from an arrow through his eye. Regardless of how he was killed, his death meant that many of the English lost their will to fight and fled the battlefield. With this major victory, William continued his conquest of England by marching his troops to take London. William was crowned King of England in Westminster Abbey on Christmas Day 1066 by the Saxon Archbishop Aldred of York. England was forever changed. If you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to hit the like button. And if you would like to see more videos like this one, then please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.